The Wild Thornberrys movie. Hey guys, Punch here, and yep, after after debuting in 1998, the Thornberrys have hit the big screen back in 2002. After Rugrats, after Hey Arnold, we got the Wild Thornberrys movie. Now, look at the obvious out of the way. I have never seen the Wild Thornberrys. I've heard the show, but I never watched it. That's because this is just one of those shows that I'm not particularly fond of. I mean, it's not bad, but it's just not. It's just let's just say it just wasn't my cup of tea. Well, apparently the Thornberrys were popular enough to get a theatrical release back in 2002, making this one of those cartoons that is kind of shocking that actually got a movie. Alongside others like Paw Patrol Bob's Burgers, to be exact. Now, since this is the third Nicktoon to warrant a theatrical release, how d- so how, man, how did this Nicktoon stand out in the big screen? Actually, really well. Despite the fact that I feel like the Wild Thornberrys don't, I honestly unlike other shows like Rugrats and Hey Arnold that actually know what to do in their theatrical releases. Wild Thornberrys, it's a show about the wildlife, and I'm not really sure that how they're gonna turn a simple premise like that into a theatrical adventure. But they did it, and it's real it, and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. So I think let's search for the plot before we unravel the pros and cons here. So, the plot of the film involves Eliza Thornberry, who has this power of talking to animals. However, one day she has to she has to embark on an adventure where she has to rescue a cub named Tabby who was kidnapped by poachers. But because of her wandering off a lot during the night, her parents decided that it was the best that she be sent to boarding school. And now Eliza has to escape boarding school and head back to Africa in order to save Tally. Now let's get that out of the way. The animation is still pretty faithful. Yes, man, yeah, it's still the original animation from the show, but and it's kind of similar and it's just one and like Hey Arnold the movie, it's still the same animation from the show. However, unlike Hey Arnold, where it's just a few characters have some shade and others have absolutely nothing, Wild Thornberries actually kind of got a little bit of an upgrade. It's still the usual animation, the colors look beautiful and there's shading to the characters. Oh yeah, and there's also the vehicles also come across as CGI, a little bit of CGI in there, but the animation is kind of really a giant step up from the show, as usual for other cartoons that hit the big screen. Also, I found the plot kind of interesting and something new from the Thornberrys. The fact that the plot of Eliza moving from Africa to London to go to boarding school, pretty interesting since the show is mostly focused on the wildlife. So the fact that Alexa is going to be interacting with humans is actually a new change and a new step in the direction for the wild Thornberrys. And as for the boarding school scenes, they're played out, and the relationship between Eliza and the other girls are nice, even though they're kind of hit or miss, and they don't really serve much of a purpose. Since Eliza arrives at boarding school, and then after a few scenes, she's out. Adios. So, all right. So, let's talk about the relationships here. They're also well played out here, especially the scenes with Eliza and the animals. Well, since the whole Eliza talking to animals thing is usually the show's show's usual since that's usual for the show, and it still is here. And there actually is a scene where she loses her power since she told that because since Debbie was at risk of getting thrown off the cliff, and we actually see what happens when her powers get taken away. And back to the relationships. There is that scene with Eliza and Nigel. It was pretty enjoyable and touching, as it shows, Nigel shows Eliza that they're going to be searching for the solar eclipse, and they have that a lot, man, and they, and they had that, and they still have that father and daughter bonding again after Eliza saves the elephant. Oh, and speaking of the elements, let's talk about elements. Let's talk about the villains here. Yep, Rugrats introduces a villain in their sequel. Hey Arnold introduces a villain in their, excuse me, in its first theatrical debut, and now the Wild Thornberrys has two villains. And I literally don't remember their names, but the villains are well done here, and their motivation, and while the motivations aren't really well explained, I'm guessing that they're the ones that kidnapped, since I'm guessing that they're poachers and that they pretended to be nice in the beginning to Eliza, but then reveal their evil side later on in the movie. However, I wouldn't say the villains here are as good as the villain in Rugrats in Paris, since, like I said, it falls in the same issue as Hair on the movie, where the villains hardly get any screen time. Although, however, unlike Shaq, the villains here are more enjoyable and actually kind of interesting to see. And yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, speaking of the villains, let's get to some of the this film's biggest and only problem. There are some scenes that are a bit dark at some moments, like a rhino getting shot, or the fact that a rhino end up getting shot. Yeah, that was a moment that, yeah, moments like that could go a bit too far, a bit too far. I mean, I guess this is a movie about the wildlife, and apparently it's gonna go to subjects like this, but for a Nickelodeon movie, it's a for a movie based off the Wild Thornberrys, it can go a bit too much. But I will give credit for the movie to actually go that mature, to go that to go into maturity. I can give credit to that. That that the film is brave enough to show stuff like that without showing too much graphic content. Let's also get to the song Father and Daughter. That definitely not among the best songs based on cartoons and movies. It's beautifully sung, has great lyrics, and the music is just, I don't know. It's just the song itself is just really catchy and enjoyable to hear. In fact, this was the first Nick to this is in fact the song even got an Oscar nomination, making the Wild Thornberrys the first Nicktoon to get a movie and then to get a nomination at the Academy's Awards. Not just the Academy Award, but also the Golden Globe Awards. But yeah, I'm sorry, but I love the song Father and Daughter. Paul Simon did a really good job making that song. Overall, I don't have much to say about the Wild Thornberrys movie, but it's still a really great movie. The animation's a giant step up. The song "Father and Daughter" is beautiful, is just amazing. The relationships are well presented here, and the villains are way more interesting than the villain in Hey Arnold the movie, despite the fact they don't have enough screen time, and the plot is a nice change for the Wild Thornberrys. Even if I never, even though I may not be a fan of the show, I still really enjoyed the movie. Overall, I'm gonna give this movie an 8 out of 10. It's definitely a great movie, and it's definitely a great introduction to the show. Well, guys, that's it for my review on the Wild Thornberrys movie. So, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. I'll be sure to post my movie reviews, and yep, I'll see you guys next time. Adios.